Welcome everyone to this edition of Talented Universe. I'm sorry you didn't get to experience our theme music and everything, but it kind of disappeared in the last few days. So we're trying to rescue it and bring it back for all of our fans. But thank you everyone for coming. First, I want to say hi to our co-hosts, and then we're going to introduce our fabulous guest. Marcia, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm here in Northeast Florida. I'm inside because it's hotter than the face of the sun outside. But I'm happy to be here.
Liz, how are you doing?
I'm doing actually great. And like you, Marcia, I am on the face of the sun up here in Sacramento, California.
Well, I'm so sad to hear that, Liz. Yeah. I've only got 80 degrees, so I can't complain. So, but anyway, I would like to say hi and welcome to our guest today, Patric Palkens. I think I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Patric, how are you doing today? And I'm going to throw the first question out that I forgot to ask some people. When you started your adventure in vertical dramas and you told your friends what you were doing and they gave you a funny look, how did you explain to them what a vertical drama was?
That's I've answered that question so many times and I love it. So I'm doing great today. I'm finally also inside, but it's only 80 some degrees. I spent a little time on the balcony this afternoon and got some sun. So if I'm a little red, I'm like enjoying my time off in our better than 100-degree weather. So I'm pretty happy with that right now, living in Atlanta. Yeah, my first trip into verticals, it was fun. I mean, my family, like we grew up with The Young and the Restless and As the World Turns as soap operas. My mom really loved them, so we're always on during the day. So I always went right to that, explaining to my family, like, hey, it's the same. It's just on your phone. Like, it's The Young and the Restless, but it's for another generation. And that, for some reason, was like the shortest way to get people to kind of go, oh, okay, cool, yeah. I had to explain.
Did you explain the Hughes family, and the Newmans and things like that, or no?
No, the Hughes family and the Newmans. Who are the Hughes family and the Newmans?
Well, then you weren't watching the soap operas with your mom.
No, I was 9 years old though.
Well, I thought but they usually make you sit there and listen. So,
She tried. She probably did try to get me to listen, but I wasn't.
But you didn't. So you were good. Okay, there you go.
I just remember some of how they were shot. I remember that, like, that sort of mood lighting all the time, those dramatic run into sort of a living room settings. I remember the ambiance, but I don't remember any of the plot lines.
Okay, there you go. Well, I've got a question, and I'm not going to post this now because I think this was something Liz said she wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Liz for some questions.
Okay, first of all, I was telling Michael this earlier, and I thought it was so funny when I actually started to do a little bit of background research on you and found out that where you grew up was so funny because Lewistown, Montana is the same town that my oldest niece spent several years at after she was married. And she found that one of the things, because it was such a small town, she had a hard time actually finding work and had to go into, I can never say it right, please forgive me, Missoula, to actually work.
Yeah, Missoula.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're the first person I've met who's met someone else from my hometown.
That's funny.
Lives there ever, like.
Yeah, well, she lived there after she got married, and then they were there for about 8 years, and she got divorced, and then moved back to Oregon. But yeah, that was the hardest thing that she had, was finding work there because it was so small.
It's such a tiny town. I mean, when we moved there, it was maybe 6,000 people, and when I graduated high school, it was maybe 8, and now the population has gone back down closer to 6,000, 6,500 people. It's tiny.
Yeah, I think she said when she left there was like 63,000, something like that. There wasn't that many.
That's going down.
But I kind of wanted to say you, in a way, have a very same significance with your upbringing that another certain Patric had growing up. I've compared a lot of your background and upbringing to Patrick Swayze because your mom had jazz studio and you grew up around that doing, I'm sure, a lot of the regular little moves with your mom and the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, granted, it wasn't ballet and you didn't get into ballet until you were a little bit older, which I believe you were 16.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, you were actually doing some, acting and different things through your grammar school and, high school and things. But when you got the scholarship to go into for ballet, to go to the scholarship for Chile, what brought that about? Actually, of all places, to get that scholarship.
That was such luck. I fell into a summer program that a girl I used to dance with and do competitions with, she moved, her family moved to Helena, Montana, and there's a ballet school there. And I visited her and saw her end of the year performance, met the director. She offered me a scholarship to come, and a teacher in Helena is from Santiago and he's from that ballet school. And I said to my mom, I would like to do this. I'd like to go and do more ballet. And he said to her, the only place, if he wants to do ballet, really, he needs to go out of the country. And he set up this program for me to be able to go to his ballet school. I stayed with his family in South America. And if it weren't for the fact that he had just gotten hired for this 4-week program, I may not have gone into ballet. I might have stayed in jazz. It was really just like this luck of the draw kind of thing that led me all the way to what was like 20 years of my life. It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
You, I know, worked your way up through a lot of different things, including the Chamber Dance Project. Do you ever, now that you have moved on a little bit, and I know that you just recently kind of left dancing behind, and I believe it was this summer, correct? That you did that?
It was
Are
June.
Yeah. Are you finding, now that you're transferring most to solidly into acting, are you finding the structure that you had for dance, because it is such a rigid structure that you have to follow every day, to now going into something like the field of acting where it's either sporadic filming or sporadic between the scripts? Are you finding that more difficult to keep your life structured or your mental balance structured?
Oh my gosh, I wish I could lie to you and tell you that it's fine and it's great. I struggle immensely with that balance. I spent 17 years professionally on a 9-to-5. I would go to class every morning. I had to do something physical. I had to take care of my body. And I knew where my next 40 weeks of paychecks were going to come from. And 44 when I was at Boston Ballet. And now it couldn't be more different. And I am slowly figuring out how to balance that, but I have a really hard time. The first 2 days after a shoot is over and the world feels really silent and like, compared to 12 hours on set surrounded by people and always talking and all noise, and the world gets very quiet for 2 days, and I don't know what to do, and I'm figuring out how to not go into like a hibernation mode, to like, okay, I take 2 days to really rest, decompress, and then I have to like start my life over, and without someone there to like push me to that. I'm getting better, but I'm still bad. I have to like remind myself to get up and have breakfast, like that. Even that much is bad. So I wish I could say it's easier. I love the act of acting, the professional doing of being on set with people is so fun. So I cannot complain when I'm working. It's wonderful, but I'm still figuring out how to balance that.
How to balance.
Really. If anybody has tips, please.
Well, you've only been kind of out of that structure for a couple months. You'll catch on. Marcia, I'm going to throw it to you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Patrick. I see that you're in Atlanta. How long have you been in Atlanta? Are you in Atlanta?
I've only been here for about 3 years now. August was 3 total years, but I got here
Okay.
right before the strike happened. So I kind of came hoping to find a more open acting industry. And
Yeah.
Boston, I landed and everything shut down. So I was really so I feel like I haven't been in the industry in Atlanta for it feels like it's only been a year now.
Why the choice of Atlanta rather than, say, LA or New York, or was there something that drew
Yeah, I
you
was
to?
coming from Massachusetts. You know, it was like a slightly easier drive, easier trip. Also with my resume at the time, and still now, I am wary of stepping into Los Angeles as a market without a little more credits to my name and experience under my belt. And especially then, I had 2 credits to my name at all. I had no clue what it really meant to do this job. So I think it was I also at the time was dating, my significant other was also working in the film industry. So it was a perfect pairing for the 2 of us to come to Atlanta. And then also not be so far. Family was in Massachusetts as well as Montana, and her family was on Cape Cod. So it was a little closer than moving all the way across the country.
And Atlanta, uh, a lot of things happen in Atlanta. I'm in Northeast Florida, so I've been to Atlanta many times, mostly for an annual event which just happened this weekend. If you're a
Dragon.
sci-fi, yes.
I had friends who went. I didn't go this year because I was moving. I was literally packing boxes all weekend. But I saw videos and pictures, and it looked wild.
Yeah, I've been a director at Dragon Con, and it is wild. When you get a chance to go, if you can go, because there's absolutely nothing like it on the planet. Uh, and also, Atlanta's kind of like New York in that way, because Dragon Con happens there, but also there's college football going on there at the same time. So you're right. There's so much
There's a
going
lot
on,
to
and
do.
yeah. Um, and so in what Liz was talking about and helping with your transition toward acting. So do you still call yourself an actor dancer, or do you kind of just, are you really leaving dance behind?
I I think I'm trying probably to manifest the actor first. So I think I say I'm an actor dancer.
Hmm.
Um, but I know at my core I cannot divorce one from the other.
Hmm.
I have danced for so long. Like my mother put me. I was in her studio. I was the youngest of 4, so I was always in the studio watching my siblings, watching my mom, and that happened when I was a baby. So it's a part of who I am. I think I'll always be a dancer. But I will say for my acting journey, I don't tell. I usually don't tell acting teachers that I'm a dancer. I usually don't tell anyone who's going to make a snap judgment about me unless the part requires dance. I try to keep that I'm a dancer under wraps because I sometimes feel that people look differently at me when they know I'm a dancer. And I like that to be a little later on. I want you to meet me for me. And then maybe, 2 days in or 20 minutes in, I can tell you I'm a dancer, and you can have that moment of like, oh, wow, we didn't know that. But I want people to, I want to, especially with my training, I wanted to be trained as a regular person learning to act, not a dancer trying to transition. And I don't know how well that served me, if it's been good or bad, but I didn't want anybody to make a judgment right away. So I think, but if someone asked, would you dance for this? Say they're remaking Dirty Dancing. I don't know if I'm Patrick Swayze's age.
You're there.
I'm close. I would absolutely dance. I think my rule now is I'm not dancing unless it's on film. If it's on film, I'll
Well,
come back.
because in verticals or mobisodes, what we're calling them, things are moving and changing, and more different types of episodes and projects are being done, which I have heard may include things like musicals and dance. And have you heard anything like that so far?
I've seen one that I was offered, that we were in conversation about, that I didn't end up saying yes to, that was based on dance. But one of the reasons I didn't say yes was because my character wasn't asked to dance. He existed outside of the dance storyline. He was a common love interest that didn't have anything to do with the dancing. But I'm slowly seeing them creep that direction, and I would like them to. I think verticals are perfect for musicals, because your 2-minute episode is one song, and you would have a setup, a song that would be a musical number, and then your episode after. I think they're a perfect structure for it. We just have to get people to write them and act and dance. I'd be here for it. Yeah. Excellent. I would do it. I think it'd be fun.
Michael, did you want to go to the?
Yeah, let me go. And Carol has a question. She says, "What's your favorite role so far? Do you have a favorite, or?"
I don't think I do. I like so far my favorite has been Tempted by a Mafia Boss, but mostly it's because it had the most stunt work in it. That was one of my favorite. One of the things about acting that I miss from dance is it's a little bit less physical. My day as a dancer used to be 8 hours of movement. But when we get to do stunts on set, all of a sudden, now that side of me gets to be used as well as the acting. And that's a joy for me. So when I get to do lots of stunt work, then I'm a little bit more excited. So that might be my favorite so far, but every single one of them has been fun for different reasons.
Yeah, and Amy says that she's listening from work, but she wanted to say hello. And she said her favorite one that you've done so far is Accidental Syrup for My Captain X. And so I just wanted to throw that up. And this one, yeah, I know. You say, I know.
These titles.
I know. They are too much. And Laura and wants to know if you're a homebody when you're at home and away, or do you decide to do something when you get away from home and, on set or whatever, and go dinner, et cetera, et cetera.
Interesting. Well, first off, hi, Amy. I know you're listening. You couldn't see me wave, so I'll actually say hi. For being a homebody, now the last 4 months, I have been traveling a ton and working. So when I do get home, I want to sit at home. I want my cast iron pan. I want to cook on my oven. I want to be at home. So I'll make a big dinner for myself and sit and I will relax. So there are times when I want to go out, but for the majority of it, I really love football season is around the corner, and I can't wait to start cooking big meals, spending all day to cook a meal, and Sunday and watching football all day. I'm genuinely
You're on.
excited.
Yep. Who's your favorite team? Marcia and I both want to know.
I know it is.
No, I'm gonna be mad at me. I'm a Patriots fan.
Good boy.
I grew up in Massachusetts. I was born in Massachusetts, and Montana doesn't have a professional team. So I went with my dad's side, and I would go home and it was, you were a Patriots fan or you weren't a fan. So still, I'm excited for Drake May this year. And exactly, you don't talk to my Uncle Sully if you aren't a Patriots fan. He'll give you some words for you.
That makes sense. Liz, I'll throw it back to you.
Okay. One thing, I know that, I guess early on in the pandemic, you had an injury, which kind of really prompted you going back to acting. But what exactly got you wanting to do verticals? And I have one question that before you answer that, I actually want to go back with. I just wanted to tell you, you were in a theater play with Pump House Players that you played Jonathan Harker, and that is one of my very favorite characters from Dracula. And I did see some of the stuff from that, some of the stills, and I thought what you did was phenomenal. But going back to the question, what on earth introduced you to verticals, or what made you want to do verticals?
I wish I had a better answer. It was a total accident.
Oh, okay.
I was just doing my usual routine, which was hunting on Actors Access, looking at projects and thinking, what might I, fit? What might I read for? And I landed on, I didn't know what vertical series or vertical drama, I think is what was listed. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but it pays well. and it was an interesting log line, but I thought I could do that. Like reading the description of the character, I was like, I could do that absolutely. And so I auditioned and got a call back and did all of it as if it was if it was anything else I was doing as an actor. And I didn't know really what vertical meant until I showed up on set the first day. Truly, like imagine my surprise at 8 in the morning.
Little out of your element there, I would think, for the first couple of days. Yeah.
A little bit.
Camera was the wrong way and everything.
Yeah, you can't. They were like, don't go left and right. And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, you're going out of frame. I was like, oh, right. And they just had to explain to me the camera was mounted. And I learned a lot that first day that I had really like no clue. So it was a total accident, and I was a very happy accident because I stumbled upon a great crew, a great director, walked me through it. So I was quite lucky.
From what we've seen you in, you've just been phenomenal with it. So I definitely think you found your calling with it. That's for certain. One of the things I actually wanted to ask you, you had mentioned before that you like to do, now that you're doing the verticals, you like to do more active stunt work. And I did notice in your resume that you do have a certain skill set with several different things, including archery, fencing, and swordplay. Would there ever be a chance that you would like to do a periodic piece, something along the lines of Pirates of the Caribbean or an Errol Flynn, something along those lines?
Please, I am begging someone to write one. Let me sword, let me fence in a vertical. I would die to do that. I love growing up as a kid. I love The Princess Bride. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The sword fights in The Mask of Zorro are gorgeous. I would love so much to get a chance to fence in a period. I don't think I can let you know how excited I am. If there's anybody that's a writer that's listening, like write it, give me a call, because that's something I loved ever since I was a kid. The Lord of the Rings, the Swords and Shields and that type of. Those are some of my favorite movies. And a Musketeers. I just saw somebody put that up. Like, I would love to do that. That would be. There's Atlanta has a historical fencing society that I have been to, and they offer great classes, and they are period accurate weapons, and they have great instructors. And so I'm going to spend more time there. But I would kill to do one of those.
I think you would do very well in it as well. I know that when we film verticals, or when the verticals are filmed, they are literally filmed right now all over the world. A lot of places are doing them here in the United States and in Canada, Turkey, but a lot of them still go back and film in China. Have you had a chance to film in China yet? You have?
I have. I did have one experience in China, yeah.
Okay. Marcia, I have a couple more that I'm going to... Marcia, I have a couple more that I want to hit him up with yet, but I'm going to let you get a couple more because I still see our chat room going goofy.
Yeah, it's going goofy, yeah.
I got to restrain myself here. I have too many questions for him.
Well, in your roles so far, you played some villains, and we know there are a variety of types that we generally see in verticals. So, what type do you feel that you have been cast most for so far?
How would I describe it? I think I get typecast as just like problematic romantic lead. Emphasis on problematic. Because some of those guys are not the line between hero and villain is like really thin on some of those characters. So I think that my type is very much, I guess my face or something about my acting says that I can be a little bit difficult. I don't know. So far, some of them have been
Well, when and you also, I don't know if this is intentional or not. There's an underlying bit of humor. I don't know if that's intentional in some of your the roles that I've seen you in. Not inappropriate humor, but just so that um, you know that not every vertical is to be taken literally, if you know what I mean. It's
Mhm.
hmm
And there is finding the one of the interesting things is finding the line there as to like how the
hmm
is it a bit of a joke or is it not? And it very
hmm
much all depends on some. I mean, the last one that I think just came out, one of mine that just came out, the last Spark of Us, I knew
Yes.
from the get go was gonna be very serious. Was It was not
Yes.
it was not to be taken with any sort of levity. And
hmm
I guess during filming, because everyone is, actors love acting and actors love being around each other, that it's lighthearted when the cameras aren't on. But from what people have told me about reviews and about what they've seen, that it was actually really, really kind of sad, really kind of emotionally heavy.
hmm
And so I kind of sometimes, you lose track of what is going to be shown when you're doing production because you're having fun with everybody, even though the scenes are serious. So,
Yeah.
I'm finding out some of that in between that line there.
hmm Which takes me to a fan favorite, which are bloopers. And some actors have posted occasionally some bloopers, but I understand that you may have participated in some accidental funny stuff that probably we won't see unless you tell us or there's a blooper reel.
Right. I would love for a blooper reel because one thing that happens based on the way I was trained is that I should never have my phone ever. There was my first few verticals. I didn't even bring it to set.
Mm,
It sat in my bag in the dressing room, like with wardrobe. And I was slowly realizing that not everybody has someone to do behind the scenes footage and things. So I bring my phone now more so that I can get things for fans to see so they can see the filming process and also for me to document like the amount of fun and the time I spend with all of these other actors that are lovely people. Um,
mm,
but I tend to not get a lot of blooper reels because I'm in a scene and I want to be in it like fully. I think I've told this story once before, but I can tell it again.
mhm,
On my cold-hearted Mafia Boss, we're filming a shot. I'm in a suit, like I'm always in a suit, and it's an opening scene. I have to come and rescue the lovely actress Meg Bush is wonderful, and she's just sitting in a chair, but I have to scoop her up out of the chair, and we were a little behind, so it was a tense. We were trying to catch up. We're in this garage, and it's dead silent, and I walk in, knock a bad guy out of the way, have this moment with her, scoop her up, and as I go to scoop her up, you just hear this colossal noise, and I realize as I'm standing up, my pants are gone. I mean, the butt of my pants. I ripped such a big hole in my pants picking Meg up on the second take, and I had to not because it was my coverage. I had to turn around and deliver this really mean line and walk away, and I'm kind of like biting my tongue because I just want to start laughing. The only person who saw it or heard it was Makeup. She was giggling like crazy in the corner because she knew that my pants were split wide open and I had really colorful underwear on that day. Which a mistake won't repeat. And she's laughing and everybody else thinks nothing is happening. And I tried to make a joke out of it and everybody looked at me like I was crazy because they didn't even realize it. So I had to walk around and show everybody my underwear so they realized why I was laughing. So that's probably, if there's anything that goes on a blooper reel, it's that. It should, because that was funny.
That sounds like a winner to us. Michael.
Yeah,
Only
like
a
on a
little
couple,
embarrassing.
only a little bit. Yeah, the Hopeless Hobbit asks, do you have a dog?
I wish I did. I do not have time with how much I travel in the work days. I would love a dog. We had husky German Shepherd mixes, so we had very big dogs as a kid, and they were lovely. But I am out of the house 13 hours a day if I'm on set, and the last 4 months I have maybe spent 3 weeks at home. So having a dog, I would just feel bad being away from a dog.
Yeah, yeah. And I am going to totally mess up this name. Puskasu Ramonas asks, what character was the most challenging to play and why?
I think that award goes to I played a character in Taming My Fussy Billionaire that had this sort of eating disorder and was essentially so picky that he was starving himself to death. And I found that it was incredibly challenging to take seriously the physical part of that so weak and emaciated that I'm almost near death. But also the script was had little jokes in it. So I was trying not to, sort of Scooby-Doo my way through having this because I read the script and thought it's very serious. He's got this eating disorder, but also I'm kind of a robust guy. I like to eat. I like to work out. And so I had this strange balance of how do I do this seriously and do it justice, and then also not go through and giggle the whole time. So I struggled with that. I wish I had more time to prep, because as you know, some of these verticals, you get a short amount of time with the script before you start filming. So I wish I had a little more time to prep with that. And maybe I wish I had taken a lighter approach to the physical element of it. And maybe it would have made it easier to do that. I don't know. But I think that one's probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Well, this question from Cornelia Hyman says, it's very similar. How do you deal with texts? I'm assuming they mean scripts that are very difficult to learn. Do you have a process? Do you have photographic memory?
No,
wish you did.
No, I wish I did. I wish I did. No, I do have a easy amount of time with learning lines, though. I am lucky in that sense that, if I sit down the night before and read through a scene 4 or 5 times, but yeah, I don't have any it used to be I would fold laundry and say them out loud, and I would do that. But now I've gotten to the point where I just sit down and read them a few times, and then they kind of go. So I wish I could had a cooler answer, but no, you just got to read it over and over and over again. And if it's difficult, you got to I think of it as mouth choreography. You're be very aware of saying the words, how your mouth moves, and that helps make it stick. Yes.
So in other words, you haven't had to do any technical mumbo jumbo yet. That makes no sense.
No, I've had a couple that were really really? They're yeah, okay. When my mom thought you was your mom and there were twins involved somehow, and that monologue took me a little while. So you take some extra time for something like that. But now for the most part, I think I'm pretty lucky. I'm blessed with some of the ability to sort of hang on to lines easily.
Yeah, and Allison says, talking about a question we were talking about when we were talking about dancing, we totally need you to bring a Fred Astaire vibe to the vertical universe.
Yep.
That would be fun. I would love that. Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly are pretty big influences. An American in Paris is something that I go back and have watched, and I love watching Gene tap. As a young man learning to dance, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, there's some great examples. So somebody just needs to put pen to paper, and maybe I need to do that. But I would love to. Something.
Ooh, we can add a writer to your resume.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw this one up because I think this person kind of has a little fantasy. and I'm going to let it play out here, and then you can just smile or whatever. She goes, the hopeless hobbit says, "If you play Robin Hood, could I be your Marion?" Hee hee.
You could be my Marion. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Robin Hood would be fun too. I like archery. I had a hay bale in my backyard, and I had a bow that I was able to play around in the backyard. So that would be fun.
So you're going to be looking at the new Robin Hood series that's coming out in what, 2 months, everyone? That's
About 2 months, yeah.
Had you heard about that?
Who's playing Robin Hood?
Oh golly, no, I can't remember.
No, not yet.
Oh,
I remember. I know who's playing the sheriff of Nottingham, though, and that's Sean Bean from
Yes, it is.
Game of Thrones. But I can't remember who is playing Robin Hood right now. So
Sean Bean is awesome. He's one of my favorites.
yeah,
he is.
They filmed that in Serbia. So yeah, interesting.
I don't know if I'd be super excited for filming, but I mean, of course I would. It'd be great.
Oh no, everybody that we talk to that's over in Serbia, they love it over there.
Mm-hmm.
They love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Line me up.
Okay, and this is something Michelle says, when are they going to cast you as a character who is a dancer? Seems like a waste of your talent. We talked about that a little earlier. So
yeah. I'm waiting. Somebody put in a call to Drama Box or Real Shorts or any of them.
And Emma asks, this is the last one we're going to do, then I'm going to go back to Liz. What kind of prep work goes into your characters as an actor? What do you do to help get you in the mindset of the characters?
Wow. For me, and it's similar to interviews that I've watched from actors that inspired me when I was training, is the script. Read it as many times as I can. Sit down with the words and just try to absorb them and try to listen to how my character talks about himself, listen to how other characters talk about my character. I try to be sensitive to those things that help give me an idea of who this person is. And then as far as getting into the mindset of characters, there's a number of, I love music is super helpful to sort of get you to a mental space. Mm-hmm. And then some of my training has involved some sort of emotional memory or affective memory, if anybody's familiar with that, that I tend to assign certain memories or experiences of my past to a scene or even to a person, especially a romantic interest or a father figure. In one of these, I had a father figure die, and I was there for his death, and that I had to assign to that actor an experience that I had that brought me to that place. So there's a lot of different ways, and sort of no way is wrong, but I've got multiple sort of paths to get there, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Liz.
Yeah, actually, I have two kind of serious questions for you to think about. As an actor, what do you think moving forward within the vertical world, with the landscape of verticals changing so dramatically the way they're changing now, what would you like to see be of your characters moving forward instead of kind of the regular, either you're overly emotional or you're like this pent up, frustrated ball of fury? What more moving forward into a different type of character would you like for it to be for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see some of the, interesting enough, where the male and female characters are, their traits now, I would almost like to see them begin to take on some qualities of the other. I would like to see some of the men get to be a little more vulnerable and in touch with their emotions. And I would like to see some of the women more agency and be allowed to sort of express and drive stories without just being victims. I would like to see them swap a little bit. And hopefully in the future, that's sort of the path that some of these can take, because those ideas are present. They're just often assigned to one gender or the other exclusively. And I would like to see that sort of that barrier fall. I think that would be really, really, as an actor, would be interesting. And also I think for the genre moving forward, I think it would be helpful.
I'm glad you answered that way because I know that is kind of what my feeling is. And I've started to slowly see the breakout of the role reversals in several different things that are just now coming out. Even though it's not gotten to that expanse yet, it's kind of like slowly getting the foot in the door with it. So I hope to be at one point to be that. And the other question I had is you as an actor, you get a script. What are the red flags you look for in a script saying, okay, this is just not for me. I'm not interested in it, or I don't want to do it. What would be your red flags?
My red flags are in the dialogue as well as the direction, the sort of stage direction, as we would call it in the script, are things that are overly explicit, overly sexual. I tend to lean away from anything that I think goes too far in that direction, and anything that violence is one thing, but there is a part of verticals that sort of have this element sometimes of sexual violence that I really have no tolerance for. As an actor, I really don't want to move in that direction, and I don't want to be seen doing that, or nor do I want to portray that. So those are my two huge red flags with some verticals, is if it's too sexual or if it's too sexually violent. I usually tend to go, thank you, but I'm not interested.
I appreciate your thought on that because with several other of the actors that we have talked to in the past, that's kind of also seems to be that their viewpoint is they want it to slowly slip away from, the cookie cutter form that verticals were originally written for, and now see a broader space both within writing, and the characterization of different things moving forward. And
I
the
see
last,
it happening.
yeah, it is. It is definitely happening almost daily. When I look at a new one, I'm like, wow, that was not what I expected. Or it's a complete turn of. I was just watching one the other day that kind of surprised me because they had normally the good guy. He's been, like the good leading man and everything, wound up being the absolute weasel and the snake. And the female, which was normally the helpless little, female that needs to be rescued genre type, wound up being the absolute avenger that came in and, took care of him, took care of her sister, and wound up killing him off in a really spectacular way. And I was really pleased in a way to see that it can be not so much feminine imperative, but just the roles are changing all the way across the board. And the last thing that I kind of wanted to ask you is, you had already mentioned your shorts and your ripped pants being in something, but besides that, what do you think would be your favorite memory or favorite thing if you wanted to take something home from a set?
Oh, that's a good question. I hadn't really thought of that. I was given, so we've already mentioned accidental surrogate for my Captain X. I was given my name tag from that. I have my Damian Green name tag from that. I actually kind of have a soft spot for that my little wings that have my name on it, because I really enjoyed being a pilot and like getting to wear that outfit and be in the cockpit, and like that was a fun experience for me. So getting to take those home was cool. Maybe I would like a bigger souvenir.
Bigger souvenir. I'd actually made a comment. I actually made a comment on that clip that you had posted on Instagram, and there when you guys were goofing off in the cockpit between the takes. I'm like, please keep your acting jobs because I never want you in the cockpits of an airplane. But
me and Vinny had a lot of fun on that shoot. We really did, and that was
it looks like
just
you guys
moment.
did.
You get to be in a real cockpit, like that's a real plane, or it's I love it now, and I'm clicking buttons, and we were having like a blast. It was just like every kid who flew and was given wings when they were like 8 years old. I was like, oh, I finally get to be in the cockpit, like awesome. I'm so excited. I was so excited about that.
Okay, but you're not Maverick. I just want to let you know that you were not Maverick.
No, I don't need to fly a fighter jet. Tom Cruise can keep that job. I'm good.
Marcia, I want to throw it to you.
Sure. So in your acting journey so far, how have you been at exploring the world of accents?
I wish interestingly enough for accents, I don't struggle too much. It takes practice. And right now with the amount of prep time we often get working so short, like I practice to sit and really live in one. But for me, it's easy to find a sort of Tennessee country act. That's not hard. And people often ask if I have a decent British accent. And I honestly, during the time I did Dracula, I got to spend 6 weeks working on an accent. And so I was much more comfortable after that experience. But I would say that I would need a little bit more prep time than I maybe get to really sit down with an accent. I mean, we were on set with a guy who came in to play a villain, and he just had this great, loud Scottish accent, and he was yelling in it, and I was so jealous because it sounded like it just sounded great. So I will work on my accents in the future. Right? That is a goal of mine.
All right. And to explore a little bit more about your outside activities, now that you're not dancing so physically, I was wondering how your eating has changed. What are you eating now that you may not have been able to eat before?
Okay.
Very end of your question there. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, I was wondering, now that you have transitioned from being so physical in day-to-day dancing, that maybe your eating habits have changed. So what might you have be eating now that you couldn't eat before, or vice versa?
I think we're having connectivity issues.
I think we are. Yeah, we have actually gone over our time that I promised him we'd keep to everyone. So those in the chat room, hopefully you can still hear us. And I have a feeling what we're going to have to do is cut this short and ask Patrick if he could come on another time to say hi. And you know, I think that's what we're going to have to do. So everyone, thank you for coming. And hopefully I can get Patrick back again at another time. And just keep a lookout, which I should have posted this before, but I'm going to do it now because things are all messed up anyway. Whoops, nope. So like and subscribe, follow us so you won't miss anything. And thank you all in the chat room. And thank you those that gave us a like. Emma Graves, Major, and Eva Pestana. Thank you very much for giving us the likes on Facebook. Those that I couldn't get to your comments today, I am so sorry. He did see some of the comments that you were just saying hi to him before we went on air. So like, subscribe, follow. Please just do that for us, and we appreciate it. So everyone, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.